BYJU's, a teacher or a businessman or a money lending giant. In this episode of the Clarity Podcast, you choose. BYJU's says that the world needs 10 more BYJU's. By the end of this podcast episode, you will decide if the world really needs a 10 of them. Have you ever done a science experiment in a school lab where you don't really know the end result? You get so excited with that thought and you anyway just go ahead and do it. And then the experiment causes a mini blast and the chemical makes your lab coat famous across the school and you become the rockstar mad scientist at school. Did you actually create something from that experiment in the long run? Well, that needs to be seen. But one thing is for sure, that you are now the mad scientist rockstar in your school. Maybe that's the level 1 unlocked in your larger game to being a globally awarded scientist. Or maybe you will remain just another average player and maybe right now is your rockstar moment and it will die very soon. I see the BYJU's story till now and this is how I see it. Listen to the podcast and leave me your comments too, such that this can become a holistic podcast. Let's now divide this podcast episode into 3 important parts. What went well, what went wrong, and what could change the game now. Number 1, what went well? Imagine this, a coastal village from Kerala, India. People going on their daily routines. And then from nowhere emerges an engineer. Now let's just fizzle it out. Engineers are not Bollywood or Hollywood or Tollywood rock stars, right? But from nowhere emerges this engineer and a test preparation teacher. No ordinary teacher. This man had a unique ability, a unique charm that he could hold the attention of thousands of students in a stadium full of teenagers who have the lowest attention rates when he taught the dreaded numbers, mathematics. And maybe this is the moment that it occurred to him that it could be a lot bigger. Maybe the stadium could be the world, that he could be a massive rock star like the several celebrity rock stars. Just that in his case, it will be about being a mathematics rock star. Sometime in 2015, this one massive rock star launched his teaching app called BYJU's. Just like any creator, it was obvious that BYJU's wanted to grow and grow really big. Launching a mobile app suddenly makes you believe that you can go global. And especially as a teacher, you find a new superpower. Now you can teach anyone and everyone around the world thanks to the internet and the simple mobile app. I can personally vouch for it. When I launched the MBA Plus app in April 2022, my vision grew at least 1,000 times more. Now I have the insane belief that I can teach every youth in tier 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 cities of Bharat. Anyway, now let's get back to BYJU's. Today, BYJU's is valued at about $22 billion. I might be off by a few $1 million here or there. The Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, Tencent, Tiger Global, Naspers are some of BYJU's key backers across the world. BYJU's has also recently acquired about 18 to 20 companies in the recent past. COVID worked like magic for BYJU's. The company grew massively. There was FOMO, which is fear of missing out, in parents about their children losing out on education. Well, this is all that went well. But now let's come to the second part of the podcast, and that is what went wrong. The recent delay in filing of BYJU's audited results of 2021 made quite some headlines. Ravindran BYJU's and his co-founder Divya Gokulnath, who has been extremely active on LinkedIn, possibly for the very first time came out with their personal accounts. How they see what happened and what went wrong or what could have been improved. The 2 key points that emerged during emerged during the audit were: number 1, on the investor side, millions of dollars in expected investments that according to BYJU's they never received. And number 2, on the consumer side, the mis-selling to parents. I have personally read several horrifying stories on LinkedIn of parents and their relatives. Some of them very well-read people. Some of them who had no idea what contract they are really getting into. And then were accounts of the BYJU's sales culture. that you either achieve your targets or you are the target yourself. Let me be 100% clear now. In the Clarity podcast, we don't take sides. We don't create narratives of any kind. We are not that media. We only talk facts and raise questions and make suggestions for growth and improvement. I am not a BYJU's customer myself. I did meet a few of their sales team members in a New Delhi mall. They were trying to really sell me something for my kid. I very politely declined. And I am not making any bias, neither am I trying to create any specific good or bad narrative in this episode of the Clarity podcast. I am only going to raise some important questions and make valuable suggestions. And if you, my dear audience, have your suggestions as well, do leave in your comments, share and spread clarity. Share this podcast episode such that a lot more many people can actually chime in and make this well worthy for themselves as well as BYJU's. What went wrong with BYJU's? Here are my questions to the team. Number one, in the VC, which is venture capital backed world, companies are creating their own accounting systems and are storytelling instead of simply stating real numbers. Why did BYJU's do it? Why the delay? My question number two, why such an insane push on sales? Okay, I understand that you need to deliver on numbers, but sales at any cost, isn't that crossing the boundary of ethics? I do understand the narrative that there are a lot of people in sales that they say that there is no ethics, it's all about the numbers in sales. But that's not how the world works, does it, BYJU's? My question number three, are you a teacher, a businessman, or a money lending giant? My question number four, is your sales strategy merely playing on the anxiety of parents? Question number five, do you actually honor your refund policy? And if yes, please share real numbers from the company. Question number six, where did White Hat Junior fade away? Where is the Silicon Valley coding dream that was promised to so many students? What happened to the students that created a mobile app? How have they thrived in the world compared to other students who probably did not do it? What's the soul and the purpose of the company? Is that number one, to teach and prepare and shape the future of the world? Or number two, merely become a channel for transfer of wealth from unprepared customers or lesser prepared customers to investors and finally the public markets? In my personal view, America sold the American dream to the world. BYJU's is selling the Indian dream to the world. The Indian dream is always this world-class education dream that can set one for life. I can assure you that most Indian parents, even the poor ones, will do anything to see their kids get the best of education. It is the ticket to safety of a great future. Okay, now let's pause for a bit. Step back and see all of this from a non-emotional and purely economic angle. Let's say there has been mis-selling. Let's just assume for a while that BYJU's has had losses and to the tunes of millions of dollars. And let's just say that the system overall is not functioning the way it ideally should. Looking at BYJU's purely like a money lending bank, banks also have NPAs, right? Lots of them, not just the small ones. Banks survive until an RBI governor comes hard on them to clean up their act, which is what happened in India. And a lot of bankers rang up phones in New Delhi, but not to much avail. The question is, are BYJU's NPAs at the consumer end large enough to derail the investors' interest and confidence in the company? And now comes the third section of this podcast. What can be improved? Look, I run the Clarity podcast and an education company in India called MBA Plus. I always speak with clarity and I don't like taking any sides. In fact, I like investing in creating something that will shape a better future for everyone. And hence, I implore Ravindra and BYJU's and the entire leadership team to pause, introspect, look back at that moment when thousands of students were giving BYJU's sheer respect. Incredible respect as a teacher. Take this moment to understand the soul of the giant that BYJU's is now, that BYJU's has now really become. Are you a teacher, Are you a businessman, or are you a money lending giant that is evolving to be more profitable for investors rather than the actual consumers who are paying you all that money? Find your soul, my friend. That's my only suggestion of what can be improved. Dear Ravindran, this is a personal note to you. If you ever happen to listen to this podcast, who knows, you might. I also come from a family of several generations of teachers. I want to build and spread wealth in India too. But before starting my own education company MBA Plus, I made it a point that I will remain a teacher first and a founder or a CEO second. My family has always taught me two important things: karma and dharma. You will complete everything within this life itself. That's what I've been taught. BYJUs, I wish you infinite energy and good health, my man. You know what? Just ensure that you find your soul, and you implore all of your leaders to do the same as well. And for whatever that you've been able to do and what you've done, well, that was your good karma. And I wish that you find the best possible path of karma and dharma and take BYJUs to greater strengths. And for all the listeners of the Clarity podcast, if you liked what you heard, simply spread clarity. That's all. The more you spread clarity, the better world you will create. Till we meet in the next episode of the Clarity podcast, keep shaping the future. More clarity to you.